The moment you're born, your life is a race to escape the very creatures that gave you life. You crack your way out of a leathery egg, buried in the warm, moist soil of a remote Indonesian island. You're soaked in goo, barely seconds old, and everything bigger than you, including your own mother, wants to eat you. There are no hugs, no bonding, just pure, primal, reptilian betrayal. For a Komodo dragon, the first and most immediate threat is its own kind. Welcome to a life where survival means escaping your family's dinner plate. This isn't a fairy tale about mythical beasts. This is the brutal, violent, and frankly awful reality of being the world's largest lizard. Imagine this. You and up to 30 of your siblings begin to hatch. The world outside the shell is a minefield. The first lesson you learn? You are on the menu. Adult Komodo dragons are relentless opportunists, and their diet consists of anything they can overpower. Some estimates suggest that a shocking 10% of that diet is made up of their own young. You are a bite-sized, convenient snack for any adult dragon that happens to be passing by, and that includes your own parents and older siblings. So, what's a baby dragon to do? You run. You don't take a first breath. You don't look for your mother. You scramble for the nearest tree like your life depends on it, because it absolutely does. For the first few years of your life, the trees are your entire world. You are a refugee, living an arboreal existence, clinging to branches and surviving on a meager diet of insects, geckos, and any small bird foolish enough to land too close. Down below, the giants roam, 10-foot-long tanks that typically weigh around 150-200 pounds, with some massive individuals tipping the scales at over 300 pounds. They have murder in their eyes and your scent on the wind. Survival up here requires a strong stomach, and not just because of the diet. To avoid being sniffed out by hungry adults on the prowl, young dragons reportedly resort to a truly disgusting tactic, rolling around in their own feces to mask their natural scent with a repulsive odor that hopefully makes them unappetizing. It's a humiliating yet highly effective strategy for survival. For years, this is your life, hiding, hunting tiny creatures, and trying not to fall. Because falling means becoming a statistic, another juvenile consumed by the cannibalistic adults that rule the ground. After a few years of this treetop exile, a new problem starts to creep in. You're getting bigger. You're too large and clumsy to navigate the branches effectively, but you're still nowhere near big enough to challenge the dominant adults on the ground. This is the awkward, terrifying teenage phase of being a Komodo dragon. You're forced to descend from your sanctuary and enter the world of the giants, but as a perpetual underdog. Life on the ground is a constant state of high alert. Every shadow could be a larger dragon, every rustle in the undergrowth a potential threat. You're no longer just avoiding predators. You're now in direct competition for resources with your own kind, creatures that are bigger, stronger, and more experienced than you will be for years. Your days are spent cautiously exploring the fringes of territories, always ready to flee at a moment's notice. This period is all about learning the landscape of fear. You observe the brutal politics of the adult world from a safe distance. You watch as massive males engage in violent brawls, wrestling and tail-slapping each other for the rights to a carcass or a mate. You learn where the dominant dragons hunt, where they rest, and which paths to avoid. You are essentially a reptilian ghost, surviving on scraps and trying to remain invisible. Your confidence grows with every successful hunt of a rat or a snake, but you never lose that ingrained understanding that you're still just one mistake away from becoming someone else's meal. If you manage to survive the gauntlet of childhood and adolescence, you finally reach adulthood. You are now the apex predator, a living dinosaur. But if you think life gets easier, you are sorely mistaken. The struggle simply changes its form. You've graduated from being the hunted to being the hunter, but your world is still defined by violence. For decades, scientists believed the Komodo dragon's deadliest weapon was a filthy mouth teeming with toxic bacteria that caused fatal infections. The story went that one bite, a little patience, and sepsis would do the dirty work, but this is now known to be a myth. The truth is far more sophisticated and sinister. They have venom glands. When a Komodo dragon bites, it doesn't just tear flesh with its serrated teeth. It injects a complex cocktail of venom. This venom is an anticoagulant, meaning it prevents blood from clotting and sends the victim into a rapid state of shock. Their hunting strategy is a testament to brutal efficiency. They don't need to win a prolonged fight. They stalk large prey like deer or even giant water buffalo, get in close, and deliver a single devastating bite. Then, they wait. They will patiently follow the wounded animal, sometimes for days, as the venom works its magic and the animal slowly and painfully bleeds out until it collapses from blood loss and exhaustion. But the violence isn't just reserved for prey. The social life of a Komodo dragon is a brutal hierarchy maintained by force. Fights over carcasses are common and can be lethal. Mating season is even worse, with males engaging in savage wrestling matches that can leave the loser severely injured or dead. There is no peace in this kingdom, only a constant, violent struggle for dominance, for food, and for the right to pass on your genes. As hard as life is for a male Komodo dragon, it's significantly worse for a female. For them, survival comes with an extraordinary biological tax that drastically shortens their lives. One study suggests a male Komodo dragon might live to be around 60 years old. A female, she'll be lucky to reach 32. The reason for this stark difference is the immense physical toll of motherhood. After mating, a female will lay a clutch of up to 30 eggs. To protect them, she must excavate a massive nest, sometimes digging chambers up to 2 meters deep. Then comes the real trial, the vigil. For up to 6 months, she guards her nest relentlessly from predators, including other dragons. During this entire period, she barely eats, essentially fasting while expending enormous amounts of energy. She loses a tremendous amount of weight and body condition, leaving her weak and vulnerable. This extreme reproductive stress means that from the moment they reach sexual maturity, females are significantly smaller than males. They invest all their energy into producing and guarding the next generation, a sacrifice that ultimately cuts their own lives in half. While males continue to grow and fight for decades, females burn out, exhausted by the biological imperative to reproduce. It's a life of incredible hardship, culminating in a premature death brought on by the very act that ensures the species' survival. After navigating a life defined by cannibalism, violence, and extreme reproductive stress, you'd think the Komodo dragon has faced every challenge imaginable. But the greatest threat of all is one it cannot fight or outrun: humanity. The Komodo dragon is now officially listed as an endangered species by the IUCN. There are fewer than 1,400 mature adults left in the wild. Their kingdom is shrinking, and it's shrinking fast. The primary threat is climate change. As global temperatures rise, so do sea levels. It's projected that the low-lying coastal savannas where the dragons live could shrink by over 30% in the next 45 years, pushing them into smaller and smaller pockets of land. On top of this, their habitat is being fragmented by human activity. Forests are cleared for agriculture, and their primary prey, like deer, are poached by humans, reducing their food supply. In unprotected areas on the island of Flores, which constitute a large part of their total habitat, they face competition with feral dogs and direct conflict with human settlements. They are living fossils, survivors from another age, now cornered on a handful of Indonesian islands. They have endured millions of years of evolution, perfecting the art of survival in one of the harshest lifestyles on the planet. But they are losing the war against a changing world. They are relics, trapped by rising waters and encroaching civilization, fighting for their very existence. To be born a Komodo dragon is to be born into a nightmare. You begin life as a potential meal for your own family. You spend your youth hiding in trees, reportedly covered in your own filth to survive. You reach adulthood only to enter a world of constant, brutal violence, where your venomous bite sentences prey to a slow, agonizing death. If you're a female, your life is cut in half by the exhausting demands of motherhood, and after all of that, after surviving the endless internal threats, your entire species now faces the final, insurmountable threat of extinction. Stillness isn't rest for a Komodo, it's readiness. They are ancient warriors, carrying the weight of a lineage that stretches back millions of years. But their kingdom is crumbling. The story of the Komodo dragon isn't just about a fearsome predator. It's a story of incredible resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. It's a story of a survivor, now facing its last fight. If you found this look into the brutal world of the Komodo dragon fascinating, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more stories from the wild.